behind the scenes with future country rock blues kings and queens. Discover them first with Palm Mash TV. Palm Mash TV.
Well, hello there. It's Palm Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. Got another great interview coming up in just a moment, but if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button and the bell, and you're always going to be notified of any new episodes coming your way. And leave a comment on the comments section if you like. We'd love to hear from you there. And if you pay attention to the description part as well as the closing credits at the end of this program, we're going to have some contact info for you. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. From Davison, Michigan today, we have Eddie Tabit. He's a very awesome country singer. I think you're going to like it. So we'll get to that in a second, but here's another quick word from the Caden Gordon Show. So don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
It is Caden from the Caden Gordon Show. Today's best country mix. Check out my show at thecadengordonshow.com.
All right, we're back. And with us from Davison, Michigan today, we have Eddie Tabit. Thanks for joining us, Eddie.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. We're glad to have you. Why don't you start by telling everybody a little bit about how you discovered music and wanted to be an artist? I mean, you probably wanted to be one ever since you were a little kid, but maybe you fell into it much later. I mean, everyone has their own story, so go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, I mean, when I was, basically, I always give my sister credit because it started in like 1976 when she handed me the Kiss Alive record. And somebody gave it to her. She didn't like it. She says, "Here, little brother, you can have it." And for the longest time, believe it or not, I wanted to be Ace Frehley, the guitar player. And then for some reason, I ended up being a drummer. And I fell in love with the drums, and I played the drums now for over 30 years. But the funny thing is I'm out front playing guitar now, lead singing. But yeah, basically started with my, hanging out with, I had two older sisters. I was the youngest in the family and the only boy. But my sisters were a big influence on me with, everything from Kiss to Van Halen to the Rolling Stones. They had all that in their collection, Boston, Aerosmith, Rocks, all that stuff. So I was fortunate to grow up with hearing that on the radio when I was a little kid. And I always wanted to be in a band. And then when I was about 16, 17, I had a 3-piece band, and we did a bunch of hall shows. And then from there on, I ended up in a Class A club band in my 20s, mainly doing rock. But country was always in my roots. So that's where I'm at now.
Well, that is quite a story there. And as far as influences go, those are pretty good too. Because, you mentioned Van Halen and Boston and a few others. Those are really great bands. I can see a little bit of that in your sound too.
Yeah, a lot of it too is the country roots. On the other side, it was Loretta Lynn, Sammy Smith, the Waylon Jennings, Hank Jr., Mo Bandy, Joe Stampley. Mom listened to a lot of Mo Bandy and Joe Stampley. And then my sisters, like I said, they were into rock, but they were the ones that turned me on to Waylon when I was a little kid. Looking back, Texas stuff. But yeah, it's there's a lot of rock influences and a lot of country influences in my music.
Yeah, and of course, we stand for all genres here on the show. And you mentioned a pretty good one, like Mo Bandy, Joe Stampley. You mentioned Loretta Lynn, and a couple of that are pretty good.
Right.
So how can we find you? I mean, I'm sure you're on all social media. Maybe you're on streaming media. You have an official website. Tell everybody about all that.
Right. Our you can find our album at Amazon and all the all the digital outlets, because I'm distributed through CD Baby, so we're on all the digital outlets. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Eddie T Rocks on X, and we just recently joined TikTok. I'm trying to fall in line with the rest of them, but yeah, Facebook, X, Instagram, and all. We've got 2 albums out now, and they're both on Amazon.com and all the other digital outlets that you can find it on.
Okay, well, I'll go to all those places there and look him up. I know he would love you for that. I guess you don't have an official website as of now, right?
Right. It's it's under the Eddie T band. So I'm basically a solo artist right now, but I do have a backing band when I do play live, and sometimes I use my I'll bring a 24-track machine with me, and I record all my stuff in the studio. As a matter of fact, I'm in my studio right now at my house, and I just record all my stuff. And then when I go play live, I'm playing with the tracks that I recorded. So a lot of Nashville people are doing that, playing with loopers and backing tracks. It's not karaoke because I recorded the tracks. So it's not that it's not I stole the karaoke track and then went out and started singing it. But that's why I call it the Eddie T band, because I did all the instruments on the last album, and then the band came in after that, after I recorded the record. So, and a lot of people can do that nowadays. I mean, it was really big when Prince did it, because no one had ever done that before. But now you got millions of people who can go in a studio and, record their own record. But I feel fortunate. I got my own studio, and I don't have to drive to Nashville to do a record. So I'm fortunate in that aspect.
Oh, okay. Well, I know you guys are going to love them, so check them out there. And I guess the video we're about to watch in a minute is called Angels How to Fly. I'm sure it's self-explanatory, but why don't you tell us a little story about this song?
Well, I almost became, believe it or not, a respiratory therapist. My father got sick, and he was at home. I've spent probably the majority of maybe the past 13 years taking care of my dad and my mom, and my dad was at home on a ventilator, and I learned how to use it to operate his vent and all that, and I was helping out at the hospital and stuff like that, and then after he passed, I wrote this song, and I thought to myself, my dad was always one of those people where he had an 8th grade education, but he was one of the smartest men I knew. And he taught me everything I knew as far as construction, building trades, because believe it or not, outside of doing music, I'm certified in heating and cooling. So a lot of what I learned from my dad, and he was always that type of guy that whether you were doing it right or wrong, he was going to come in and tell you how to do it. So when I wrote this song, I thought, what would my dad, when he passed away, I thought, what would my dad be like the moment he got into heaven? And he would be the guy going in there telling the angels, no, you're not doing it right. Here, let me show you. So it was kind of my way of saying, he taught all us kids how to be strong, how to be good individuals, how to be good people. And so I just thought it was fitting that, I could see my dad going to heaven, teaching angels how to fly, and it resonated when the song came out. It resonated a lot with people, whether it's your father, a teacher, a bus driver, any sort of mentor, somebody that it basically represents anybody who put, inspiration in your life. My baseball coach, if it wasn't for my baseball coach saying this at this time, I probably might end up in jail, so it's a song about, reflecting on loss, and I got a lot of nice comments from people about this song. It resonated with a lot of people, so I think the story carries across.
Yeah, and I love this song too, and I think you guys out there are gonna love it too. And we're
Thank you.
gonna get to that in a second. But Eddie, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Anytime you want to come back, let me know if you want to plug something new. Maybe we'll have you back on sometime.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. And here it is, "Angels How to Fly" by Eddie Tabit. It begins right now.
Well, Mama, it's okay for you to feel the way you do. He had a way to light up a room. I know I miss him too. So go ahead and break down anytime that you need to. You can ask anyone. That man, he sure loved you. And he's the reason that I turned out like I did. He went and made a man out of some snot-nosed little kid. He taught me how to live and love, and he taught me how to cry. Now he's in heaven, teaching angels how to fly. A summer afternoon with the Tigers on TV. That was my whole world, the old man and me. But don't think for a second that he's not here. And just when I need it the most, he whispers in my ear that he's the reason that I turned out like I did. And to be strong is just something you're born with. He taught me how to live and love, and to always ask why. And now he's in heaven, teaching angels how to fly. That I turned out like I did. Well, he went and made a man out of some foul-mouthed little kid. He taught me how to live and love, and he taught me how to die. And now he's in heaven, teaching angels how to fly.